dive in all the way to the news. Snaptic actually tweeted me before the show, and they have a thing called the Snaptic Challenge. I actually didn't get a chance to read all the details, but if you go to snaptic.com/challenge, you can find the details there. But what they did tell me is that the winner goes to TED. And TED is this awesome conference where all these big
They gave away
marketing bucks-
Nexus Ones. So.
Yeah, if you don't know what TED is, go look that up. You'll be impressed. That's pretty,
you want to go to
conference.
TED.
So the winner gets to go. So I would enter this contest for sure if I were in the I was meeting the requirements on their challenge. So I would definitely look into it.
Snaptic.
Okay, so to the news. An iPhone that boots Android. See, we can't not talk about the iPhone.
I cannot talk about it.
Even if it's running Android, you can't talk about it. Wouldn't you love that? Isn't it like
it
like
is a little bit of
the iPhone somehow?
It's like a below the belt.
Yeah, I would think so. I think you'd like that.
A little bit, yeah.
All right, so it's been announced that a member of the infamous dev team, Planet Being, managed to port Android to the iPhone. So the
older iPhone.
Is it just the older one?
The old.
Okay.
Yeah, I tried doing it on my 3GS and it didn't work. It said.
He said he's still working on the 3GS. He said it would be. Is the original iPhone, and he said it should be pretty easy to port to the 3G, but he said it would take a lot more work to get it to 3GS.
Got it.
I know, sorry. That's what you get for adopting new technology right away.
See, I
just
want the dual
boot. That would be so awesome.
You still think it the same way.
Yeah.
The dual boot is what we all want. That would be the coolest.
Dual booting, I mean, a lot of my machines do that at home.
Yeah.
So
but you got no back button on the iPhone. I mean, how would that work with most apps?
Well, he set it up. He remapped a lot of the keys, and he did. Yeah, like he did a bunch of different stuff to remap and everything. I sent him an email, so I'm going to try to get him to talk on the show about it. So we'll see if he gets back to me.
You just
You're
shake
out there,
the phone
Planet
and it goes
Being.
back. That's,
Call me.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Cool. Okay. Next story. Sprint is giving away the Evo 4G to 10 Premier customers. So Sprint is inviting its Sprint Premier customers to blaze across America with its first 4G phone, even before its official release date. So 10 lucky Sprint Premier customers will take home an HTC Evo 4G with additional prizes, including a job as an Evo 4G blogger, a 4G trip, or just plain old money. Winners will also receive a free year of service and a connection faster than most people's DSL. That's what caught my eye.
Oh, well, 4G is fast.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ever used an overdrive, it's
that is fast.
Yeah.
It ain't no joke. Do you have your case? Hey, I just want to tell everybody. Because Engadget, I think it was Engadget, posted a story that said that case didn't look anything like the picture, and they put up this ratty piece of junk. And that is the case. That's the actual case, and it does look like the picture. So for those of you considering it, do not listen to the Engadget story. That's the real thing right there.
Yeah, this is the case that Sprint gives to people for free when they get Overdrive for their iPad.
Yeah.
And
it
it's
has a little
incredible
spot for your Overdrive in the front there. See, yep, right there. And then you put your iPad in the little sleeve. It's great. But
it's nice, magnetic and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And
it's got a little magnetic closure, so it snaps shut.
Nice.
It's really cool.
yeah, it's a great little thing to carry on your Overdrive and everything.
Yeah.
But Sprint, I'm just going to get really easy for you. You can go ahead and mark off one of your winners and give it to me. Because I'm going to enter because I'm a Sprint Premier customer and I can do a lot of things really, really fast, like update my social networking and all this stuff. You have to write like a little 150-word essay.
Oh, really?
On what you can do really fast, and I'm like, okay, this could get a little crazy.
I entered two.
Huh?
I entered two. It's a good one.
Yeah. See, and
You
I'm
got
like, I got to
competition.
enter this contest, but I got to think of an angle.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna enter and I'm gonna win one of those Evos. It's gonna happen, and if not, it doesn't matter anyway because I'm just gonna get one the day it comes out. I'm weak. I'm weak-willed.
Yeah, no, you said that you were technology agnostic. I saw those tweets. You're
I
getting
know.
one of the
I
Evos.
just it's for me. It's like Sprint only has two other Android phones. That are even, like they have a Hero and the Moment, and they're both still on 1.5.
Yeah.
I can't.
Fragmentation.
I need
Here
the
it is
most
again.
up-to-date thing. Like I can't have. I can't do it. Makes me, especially not after playing around with this.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about that yet.
With this.
Now, what is
my
this?
goodness.
This is my HTC Incredible.
And how did you get that?
HTC was kind enough to send me a review unit.
Look at you.
And yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with it this past week, and I actually had it last Friday, and I couldn't tell
couldn't
anybody.
tell anybody about
and
it.
I felt like I was gonna burst. I felt like my head was gonna explode.
So nice.
So we'll be talking about that later.
Yeah. I have a review video later in the show. So
Very good. Okay, so next story. Remember last week when we said Android, Flash will be on Android devices in the second half of 2010?
I do.
Well, it turns out they will actually be in the first half. We were just kidding.
oh,
So,
yeah, just kidding.
So last week we reported that Adobe Flash 10.1 for Android had been delayed until the second half of 2010. Turns out we were wrong, or everyone was wrong, actually.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, I guess everybody kind of took it wrong.
Yeah, well, apparently the confusion arose when the Adobe CEO, I'm not going to say his name because I'll never say it right. Okay, I'm going to try. Shantanu Narayan?
That sounds about
I
right.
think that might be right. Basically, he said that we should expect Flash in the second half of this year. But he was referring to new devices that have it pre-installed, not widely available. So we still should be seeing.
Plug-in,
Yeah,
we're getting
exactly.
soon.
So we should be able to see it soon. Exactly. So I don't know, before June, I guess, something like that. So
I would say around I/O. I think they're going to announce.
oh, that would make sense, wouldn't it, to announce at the I/O conference?
I give it a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
Do we have any idea how they're going to release that? Is it going to? I mean, does it require a certain operating system version, or is it an app update?
I think it's going to be an app. I know that on the Incredible, there's Flash Lite, so I was able to use like some forms of Flash, but not all of them. Like if I went to a fully built website in Flash, I couldn't see any of it. But like if there was like a little plugin that didn't, like I'm not sure how it works. Like forgive my ignorance, everybody, but I was able to use like some things that were built in Flash, but it's Flash
You
Lite.
get to see all the ads, right?
Yeah,
all the
exactly.
Flash
all the
websites.
ads. I got to
I
see
saw
ads
it.
in Flash. That was really exciting for
an
me.
interview with him, and he had said that they weren't exactly sure yet on whether they were going to be integrating it with the operating system, sending it out like an OTA, or having a second, like an app on the market.
Right.
But it is limited to second-gen Android phones, so you have to have the ARM Cortex 8 processor, so the
Or higher,
Snapdragon or the Hummingbird or something higher.
Yeah. Were you gonna ask a question?
Well, I was just going to say that it could be second half of that. If they end up doing the OS bundle, then it's going to be. We got to wait for it again.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it could be one of those, and I hope it's not.
Yeah, when we were talking about how they were saying that how Google was getting away from packing things into the OS as opposed to they were like taking out Google Maps and making them part of the market as opposed to part of the OS. So I think that I would be surprised if they bundled it in with the OS because I think that causes more problems than.
Yeah, I
Leafy.
remember this article from a couple weeks back when we talked about how they were going to address the fragmentation issue. So my guess is it'll be in that fashion that they described then, just like you just said.
Yeah.
Okay, so next story. Will Motorola's next Android phone offer 3D? So think Avatar, I guess. So basically this is coming from a patent application that Motorola filed. People noticed that there's sort of this flip cover that flipped down, almost like like a Star Trek, like the old school communicators, and nobody really knew what it was for. And then they found a bit of text which basically said when the bit is flipped down on top of the screen, it would render the images in 3D. How it does that, I do not know without glasses or.
Yeah,
Well, it would be like some sort of lens,
It's a lens.
like a polarized.
It'd be a so
cover.
polarization of some sort.
The whole point behind the glasses is that one eye sees the
That's right.
Right.
one go polarized and one goes the other way.
So
So I'm not
this-
really sure how you do it with just a flip screen.
This
It makes
is,
sense
Well, this
with-
is with parallax, so it bends the light waves in two different ways. So even if you're standing back and you look at it, it looks like it's deep.
Like a hologram, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
So-
know why, but when I read that story, I was reminded of I don't know if anybody remembers this or what the name of it is, but do you remember those like giant white arcade machines that had that little Western hologram game? like every time I think about it, I'm like just waiting for that. I again are very ridiculous, but why 3D? Why? I don't.
So you can
I
watch
don't
3D movies on your phone. You can watch Avatar.
Why not?
Why not buy? Why not have? Because honestly, I think we're going to get to a point where people will have like a stylish pair of polarized 3D glasses that they'll be able to design and have, like
Yeah.
a pair of a pair of
Maybe.
I
pre-made.
think the ultimate goal is you can set your phone down and turn it on, and Princess Leia will come up
Yeah.
And it'll be like
and say, "Help me, Obi-Wan
help me,
Kenobi."
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
You know,
Because that'd be pretty cool. Like a
basically, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
It's a small
Few
R2D2
years
in a
out, but,
phone.
yeah.
That's what we need.
Yep.
Yeah,
almost
a
there.
company called Wasabi actually makes one for the iPhone, but it's horrible. It's big and bulky, and you have to have specific content for it, so it would be hard to just see anything in 3D.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, like the way I think of 3D working on a mobile phone would be like with the Evo, we have 4.3-inch screen. You go onto Netflix, and you have 3 different options. Instead of just Blu-ray and standard def, you can get standard def, high def, or 3D, and you
Right.
can just instantly stream it to your phone on 4G, and then you can have your glasses, but whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Next story, the 2011 Ford Fiesta to include voice control of Android apps.
Yeah.
So Ford has actually been really active, strangely active, especially with this Fiesta stuff.
Can I just say, like, did anybody actually know they were still making the Fiesta?
No, well,
or they were
actually, I
bringing
did.
it
You
back?
wanna know why? 'Cause-
like,
Well, at least in LA, they've been having a lot of like sort of events and parties and stuff.
they've been having a lot of Fiestas.
That a lot of as Ford Fiesta, no, a lot of Fiestas, exactly. They call it the Fiesta movement. They have like representatives all over town, and they have made themselves visible in sort of the internet and new media communities. Yeah, strange.
I saw one driving down the road, and I took a picture of it and tweeted it.
Wow.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So they're clearly targeting sort of the digerati set.
Yeah.
And
I like that, the digerati.
Oh, you never heard that? Yeah,
I think that's
I cannot
nice.
claim to have made that one. I was
Techerati,
kind of
that's-
old at the time, but anyway. So the idea is that basically you can there's a thing called Sync App Link, which drivers access and control Android and BlackBerry smartphone apps, and basically the car allows you to have issue voice commands to your Android apps, and it will basically fire them up. And the obvious ones are obviously give you directions to X, Y, Z, that sort of thing. We'll see where this goes.
Yeah, and another thing is like, it's kind of cool how they're kind of incorporating these apps in with the cars. I spoke with some people last week from Chevy about their Chevy Volt OnStar app. And you can check the batteries of your Chevy Volt and turn the charging on and off and access a bunch of stuff right from your Android phone. It was kind of cool.
It's pretty
That
sick.
is cool.
Wow.
Again, more applications of Android that I would have never thought of myself, but now that somebody mentions it, like
Actually, Ford has a developer program, and developers can grab their Ford Fiesta SDK. That's kind of odd
do
sounding.
they get a Fiesta to develop with?
Yeah, your car now has an SDK. I mean, it's, what? Really?
Yeah, like
But
with
that's actually
purchase,
kinda cool.
you get an
Why not?
SDK.
Cool.
That is cool.
I want a heads-up display on my windshield.
Yeah.
That'll be the day.
All right.
That'd be
Yes.
so nice.
That'll be the day people are playing movies on their windshields.
Yeah.
LAR. I want LAR in my windshield.
At that point, my
God.
car will drive itself,
so
and it'll all be okay.
sweet.
All right, so the next story is about, once again, the black turtlenecked one.
But it's about Android
Well, it's about Android, yeah.
Porn.
Yeah.
and porn.
A
My two
sad,
favorite
a sordid
things.
tale
A sad
involving
sordid tale,
jobs,
right? Exactly.
Android, and porn. So the Pulitzer Prize winner editorial cartoonist Mark Fiore, his app was rejected from Apple's App Store, and everyone got all up in arms about it. I mean, this is an old story. Apple's App Store.
Well, they said
is-
it was ridiculing public figures and that it was obscene
Oh,
and all
sorry.
that. They just said no.
Yeah. So once again, so the nanniness of the App Store is on Apple's side is once again made a horrendous mistake.
Yeah.
But CEO kind of reacted to reactions to that by saying, well, if you want porn and all that kind of stuff, just get an Android phone.
Yeah.
And he's pretty much throwing the porn. He's trying to link porn and Android together.
Right. Do it for the children,
Which
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure if that's a good idea because wherever
Yeah.
porn goes, so goes the tech industry. And I'm not like, I don't think that's a great idea to be like, well, if you want to, that's why VHS won.
Well, look, Jobs is scared of Android. I think the fact that he's going to that
Makes him
level.
a little nervous.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that he's, curled up in the fetal position in a corner in his office crying or anything about Android, but
Not about Android, anyway.
I definitely think he's keeping a very wary eye of its success.
Yeah.
So-
I think
He's
it's
got the
I think
lawyers
it's done
working
better
on
than I
it.
thought it was going to do. Sorry, go ahead, Lane.
I said he's got the lawyers working on it. He's not worried about it too bad.
Yeah, he learned from the little incident he had with Bill Gates that you got to keep an eye out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, and like a lot of people will say like, oh, well, if you want to keep porn off the iPhone, then you should just remove Safari. Like you should remove the internet. Like it's,
Yeah.
if you're going to get it, if you really want to find it, you will find it on your mobile device come hell or high water. So,
Yeah.
You know, but as I said on my Facebook, I mentioned that quote, and I was like, "That's why I don't host This Week in iPhone."
Well, the best thing about all this though is it's not like there's porn available in the market, and that you can't even download this porn market that he's referencing in the market. You have to go off to another website.
Yeah, it's
so
a third party.
he's like saying, "Hey, everybody, look, the Android phone lets you install other stuff that isn't in the market, sure, but you can make your own decisions. That's a bad thing."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't see how that logic follows through at that point.
Well, it doesn't. Yeah, like, oh, it's a terrible thing that you get to make your own decisions. But to be fair, I mean, Apple's always sort of operated on the, we know what's best for you. Like in Mother Russia, phone uses you. Like that's that's sort of the way Apple sort of thinks about it.
Yeah, they're very much the Disney of phones.
Yeah, they control their image very well.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I will give them every ounce of credit for that. I mean, they have done a phenomenal job of controlling their public image. It's, I mean, really impressive.
Yeah.
From a business standpoint, they've
true.
done a very good job.
All right, so next story, a tablet story that's not about the iPad. The Arco 7 home tablet is now up for pre-order on Amazon, and it costs $199.
Yeah.
So this happened already overseas last month, but if you want to go and get your own, basically Android iPad.
Your Android tablet. It's a 7-inch, so it's a little smaller.
So it's a little smaller than this.
But looks nice. I mean, it's not the greatest thing I've ever heard of. I mean, I'm sure, when HTC or Google comes out, or Toshiba comes out with their tablet version with running Android, it's going to be insane. But, for $199 without a contract.
Still pretty cool. Yeah.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, and basically the more I use this tablet, the more, or the iPad, the more I'm like, this is for viewing movies and books and things like that. So, you know what? $199 might be just fine. The $199 device might be just fine.
Telling you, $199 is the magic price point for tech for a lot of, like, middle income, that's the magic price point. That's the most people are willing to spend.
Yep. Okay. All right, so next story, Google is no longer investigating the fix for the Nexus 1 3G issues and advises changing your location. Doesn't really seem like a... kind of sounds like a... I
think it's a really nice solution there. It's very eloquent. Just move.
Just move, dude. Yeah. Stop calling us.
Stop crying and move.
Jeez.
I guess...
They blame... So, let's see. So people that are unsatisfied with the Google Nexus 1, it's been blamed sometimes on T-Mobile's inferior 3G coverage, software bugs, blah, blah, blah. Google basically has just said there's no longer working on further engineering improvements. So they're just throwing their arms up and saying, sorry, dude, it's not going to help you.
But you know what? To be fair, I spent some time with a friend of mine's Nexus 1. I feel like I'm like dating that. It's so weird. I spent some time with it this last weekend. We went to Spago. I spent some time with it, and he was like, the one thing, and I've never seen anybody physically do this in person, and I was shocked. He's like, the one thing that bugs me about the Nexus 1 is this. He goes, look at my phone. And he goes, this is 3G, and it had the 3G stuff lit up. And he goes like this to the bottom of the phone, and then 3G goes out. And he goes, this is not 3G. And then he lifts up his hand, and it came back.
Crazy.
This is not 3G. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. And he was like, that is my one problem.
That is crazy.
He's like, that's my one problem with the phone. Like, I wish it didn't do that. He's like, and I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know if they're going to fix that. And then I read that story, and I was like, oh, my God. Like but apparently this is a very small percentage of Nexus 1 users, so they're just saying, well, it's just you. Like, since it's not a large percentage, it must be something you're doing.
Interesting.
So we're not going to look into it.
It sounds like the Xbox 360 thing to me.
Yeah.
With the red ring of death.
Yeah, where they're like, well, it's user error. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean,
not gonna deal with that.
So it's got to be hardware. Like some are defective, or they're getting weak signal strength, and they can't fix hardware anymore. It's released, so.
Well, I wonder if it has anything to do with the case. I mean, how much of the case on that Nexus 1 is aluminum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and that's, like, a lot of people are saying that the combination of that with, putting your hand over the top of the antenna it just kills 3G reception. So, go figure. I don't know.
Cool. All right, next story. Google brings free turn-by-turn navigation to UK Android devices.
Yay.
So, overnight in Great Britain, suddenly iPhone users found that they woke up to their phones talking to them, and they turn left, turn right, as appropriate.
Yeah, really like that navigation.
So basically the Google Maps navigation it's all free too, by the way. So there's a lot of apps that people can buy.
Well, that's because they're socialist. I'm just kidding.
No, I mean that's
But it's
great.
in Ireland too. There's a difference between the UK and Ireland. Remember?
Yeah. So
So do we know? So that's only in the UK, but not here, I guess.
not here yet.
I think I have,
Well, we have-
turn-by-turn navigation.
Yeah, there's
have that?
turn by
Oh,
turn
yeah.
through Verizon. I mean, like a lot of them have their own proprietary nav.
Oh, okay.
Mine's
Google Maps has
Maps,
navigation. Yeah, Google
Is that
Maps has
not what we're talking
navigation.
about?
I think this is
Yeah,
just
it's
that
Google-
they
it's Google
finally
Maps.
got their own version of navigation, because I don't know that the carriers in the UK have like proprietary turn by turn.
Yeah.
So when Google finally gave them,
I think they just made their way. Yeah, this has made its way across the Atlantic. So
Yeah,
they
okay,
finally
so
got it
basically
in
they're saying that
Britain.
they-
So
we
finally
it's the
getting
same thing we've had
free
here for
Google Maps
cool.
navigation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been really working on spreading that out to a lot of stuff. They announced it's coming to the iPhone too.
No, it's not. Wait, I thought I just read a story where they said tough
No.
luck for the iPhone.
No, they said it's coming.
I heard it was coming. That was a while ago.
I've heard something in between that, which is that they were like, it's coming to the iPhone, but it won't have as much like in-depth functionality. Like a lot of the times, like when you see something on the iPhone for Google, it's not as like polished.
Do you think Google's actually, stunting the stuff that they're releasing
Well,
for the iPhone?
I hope so. Just saying.
Jeff makes
absolutely.
no secret
That's
of
true.
his-
Well, why
Yeah.
would you give your competitor a flourishing, fully functional product that you want to kind of protect on your own operating system? I mean,
It's
it
kind of
makes
like when
sense to me.
Microsoft had Lotus 123, or they're working on the new version of Windows, and their
Right.
motto was, if it's not done, if Lotus won't run, or something like that. And basically, they're saying they actively were making the operating system so that Lotus 123 didn't work, and they could promote their own spreadsheet programs. So.
Right, exactly.
So.
Well, the one difference though is that Google actually makes money on advertising, though,
That's true.
whereas
True.
Microsoft's business model stopped at that point.
Right,
makes sense
which
why
is
they'd
why
give
they
you
would
the
make
stunted.
the app.
Yeah.
But they
Yeah.
wouldn't necessarily give it full functionality that you would see on an Android phone.
True, just
Ooh.
good enough.
Breaking news: there was a announcement by a Google spokesperson that said they're actually not going to be bringing it to the iPhone right away. They're focusing on other platforms first. Then they'll think about the iPhone.
Yeah, that's what I read. That's
That seems about right to me.
Other platforms. What does that even mean?
Probably Windows
the
Mobile
Ford,
7.
Ford Fiesta.
Windows Mobile 7 probably, and the Fiesta.
Yeah.
So that I
Fiesta
can have my
platform.
LAR and my windshield. Where's that in
Google
and
just
out?
got their hands on that Ford Fiesta SDK. That's taking up all their time.
That's serious business. That is serious business. Okay.
All right, so next story here, an Android device for Scrooge McDuck.
Pretty much, yeah.
So basically, there's a new phone called the Ulysses Nardin Chairman. I like that. The Chairman. My phone is the Chairman.
I have the Android Chairman.
Yeah. And it's a Uber limited edition handset for the unspeakably rich. Only 1,846 units. I'm not sure how they arrived at that particular number. But basically, it's a completely luxury Android device. Available in steel, stealth, and various other precious metals. The phone ships with a lacquered wood charging station. And so it's
I'm
pretty
sorry,
much
I have to laugh at that. Like that's overly luxurious. That's ridiculous.
I don't know. The screen's only 3.2 inches.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. The phone is not even that great. Like, if they're like,
Yeah,
oh,
but
it's an
it's a
8
status.
megapixel camera. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like, my phone's made of solid gold. Like,
Yes.
that's,
Hello, welcome to my Android.
it's just like people who buy Bang & Olufsen like devices. It's
Yeah.
just like you're not really getting. It's a phone. Like, it's a home phone
brand
that's in the
name.
shape of a giant banana.
So there's no word on the price. Yeah, they have not told us what the price is, which is unfortunate because that's of course what we all want to know.
I believe the price is always inquire.
Yeah,
exactly.
Which
If you
means,
have to ask,
Which
it's
means
too
if you
high.
have to ask,
Yes.
you
It's not
can't
for you.
afford it.
Yeah.
You're not going to buy one.
may
Yeah,
be
it's
right about
hideous. Everyone in the chat room, ugly, so ugly. It's gross looking. It's like gold plated, and it's just so
But it's
gaudy.
handcrafted
I
by
mean,
Jersey Shore phones,
Swiss
that's-
watchmakers
Yes,
or
like-
something.
if
Yeah.
Snooki was like a rich socialite instead of like Jersey Shore, like she would have
Pretty much
that
what we got
phone.
going
Like,
on.
yeah, totally.
Nice.
So, well, that's the part of the news that we're gonna have you guys on, and we have another guest coming on Skype. So we're gonna say bye to you guys, Lane
Cool.
and Dave.
Yeah,
Why
thanks
don't
for
you go
having
ahead
us
and plug
on.
your show?
And hopefully you guys can talk a little bit about the Apple acquiring ARM, that kind of stuff.
Yes, I want to talk.
That might be a good one.
Actually, well, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So Apple acquired ARM.
Well, not yet.
They're basically saying it's coming. They're gonna, and so do you think that means that they're gonna have to go to? Well, I saw an Android product that had I think it was the tablet for Dell that was not running on an ARM, and I wonder if that's because they're trying to diversify.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of what we've seen is that a lot of these tablets, they're kind of starting to go to the Intel Atom processors, and they're looking into Intel a little more because 98% of cell phones run on an ARM chip.
Mm-hmm. We talked about Intel last week when they were saying they wanted to start getting Intel into your Android phones.
Yep.
So,
because ARM is licensed to 98% of phones, and if Apple controls that, then that is a big.
But yeah, all these Tegra 2 chips that are coming out, like the Atom tablet.
Mm-hmm. I think the Dell tablet runs on Tegra as well.
Yeah, that's like it's like the Snapdragon right now. That's going to be the processor for Android tablets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes you wonder though, like what Google's response to this is, like, because they have to be aware that if ARM gets licensed to Apple, that there's this huge chunk of phones that are somehow no longer viable. I don't know what Apple would do with it, but
I think it's in the same sense as Google buying AdMob. Like they sort of feel like I have a feeling that this is sort of like a tit for tat thing where it's like, okay, well you took away AdMob from us, so we're gonna do this. It seems like that sort of.
It almost feels to me more like a vertical integration thing because this is really the second chip buyer that they've acquired.
Right, PA Semi.
Yeah.
And Google actually this week acquired a company that spun off of that company that makes chips and
I read that
TV kind of stuff. So that might be their first kind of.
It was a lot of ex-Apple employees. They picked up a company that like a lot of. It was a spin-off of it was good stuff. Very interesting.
So there's a lot of movement in the processor field, which is funny.
And I think we'll continue to see more especially with the economy the way it is. A lot of companies are either looking to be bought or.
Yeah. You got to remember too. Google is not natively a hardware company.
Yeah.
And we've seen one of the stories we discussed. They really fumble a few things because of that.
Because of that, right?
Apple is a hardware company. It's been in their DNA.
That's
from
what
the
they
beginning.
do.
So
yeah. Well, and I think one of our chat group people, Sam Ben Salem, is like the void will be filled by somebody else. I'm sure. Like you were saying with Tegra, like it'll be filled by someone else, I'm sure, but it'll be interesting to see how it affects just mobile units in general.
Yeah.
Tegra is an ARM processor too, though.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like this new platform that all these Android tablets are coming out on are ARM processors. Yeah. They're dual core, but they're still ARM.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Again, like I said, I always forgive my ignorance on this show. I'm like, really? No. Wow, I learn something new every day. That's very nice. The whole thing is like watching the Cold War all over again. I agree. So, you guys, we're going to let you go, but plug your show. Tell everybody where we can find you, where we can see you, what you guys are up to.
Yeah, we the people watching this would be interested in the AndroidAppShow.com and the Android Tech Show. We do those two shows every Sunday. And before that, we do the iPhone App Show and the iPad Show, which has been huge recently. So,
covered everything we can.
Trying to.
Yep. And you guys, we can find you on Twitter at Android App Show, Android Tech Show. Yep. So if for those enterprising Twitterers who are looking to add some more tech folk to their lexicon of tweeters.
Their menagerie of tweeters.
Tweeters. What I don't even know. So there's got to be some cool. Yeah, exactly. They're Twitterati.
Yes, Twitterati.
I'm gonna start adding "ati" to everything now. I'm gonna be like, that's it. That's what I'm gonna do.
It's an old beam, but welcome to it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'm always late to the game. I'm always the last one to know about everything.